Beginning on Data Podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to day 11, late as it may be, of National Podcast Post Month here on the Odd Data Podcast, where this week I am running down my recent trip to Disneyland and the adjoining Disney park stuff. You know how Disney goes. They can't just have one park in a place. That's just be too simple. So, if you've been listening all week, you know we are on to Wednesday. We have had Monday in Disneyland. We had Tuesday doing the Oogie Boogie Bash and downtown Disney shopping. And now we are on to Wednesday, which we spent at the California Adventure Park. And this was easily our smoothest day. This is the one day out of the whole thing that we really planned. Because after getting after getting back to the hotel Tuesday night, and my wife and I actually were kind of having a hard time sleeping after Oogie Boogie Bash and everything, and just kind of trying to figure out, okay, well, what do we want to do? Sitting up, what do we want to do tomorrow? So we kind of have an idea. Hey, we want to go have lunch over here. We want to, do this here. We want to do this here. Kind of an idea of, we know what rides are really popular, which are difficult to get on, walking into the park, what do we want to do? If you've ever seen any of the videos of the Turtle Talk with Crush, where the kids talk and ask questions to Crush the turtle from Finding Nemo. So we wanted to do one of those. So we're like, okay, well, what time are those at? So we got to kind of, schedule, plan to be over there. Stuff like that. A little bit of that. We're like, okay, well, we want to do this, and we want to do this, and we want to do this. And we kind of mentally planned the things we wanted to do so that as we went through the day, we could aim to do those things. And we basically had it's one of those in one part it's a witchy thing and focus and manifesting everything, but everything went our way for every ride with exception to one that we planned. And the only sad, unfortunate ride experience we had was the one thing we did just spur of the moment. The one thing we didn't plan sucked. But running it through, we actually, because we had committed and planned and okay, we want to do this and we want to do this, and that we set our mind to, these are the things we are going to do. We made them happen. Every single thing we committed to, mentally committed to, was so smooth. Everything went perfectly our way. Oh yeah, we want to go in the Soarin' over the world or Soarin' around the world ride. I think it used to be Soarin' California, and now it's Soarin' around the world or something. And it was okay, we want to do that, and we want to do I keep forgetting the name of it's the big mountain water ride thing that they have. We want to do that. We want to do Soarin'. We want to do the Cars, the Cars Land. We want to go to Radiator Springs and do the Cars Land and do the car ride, which is a very high demand ride. It is so high demand, you have to pay extra to get a lightning lane, the fast pass for that ride. It is that high demand. We were able to either get like a lightning lane and almost just walk on to almost every ride we wanted. Every time we come off of one thing, we're like, okay, well, what do we want to do next? Well, this is nearby, the next thing on our list, and we look up, and the wait time would drop from, oh, it was a 45-minute wait, and it's 5 minutes right now. Everything was just perfect, and it was like that all day. There were cases where we had to stand in line because even with, you got your lightning lanes and stuff like that for high demand stuff, like the Tower of Terror. And we're still going to call it the Tower of Terror, even though it's like Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout or something like that now. It's the Tower of Terror. It's a giant elevator that drops you over and over and over again. Anyway, even the lightning lane, those high demand rides, you're still going to have to do some standing in line because everybody wants to do them, and so everyone gets their lightning lanes. So you've got a shorter line than the regular line, but you still got a line. But for the most part, we hardly stood in line for much all day. We didn't stand in any especially long lines, with exception to one. And that was for the Monsters, Inc., like Mike and Sully to the rescue, something like that. Which was kind of a meh ride anyway. Not to the extreme degree that I would, as Small World, but I'd say it's one of those rides where you go on it to cool off, especially at the time of day we were there. We were over there probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon is when we were in line for that ride. And we literally only did it because it was across the street after we walked out of Turtle Talk with Crush. We're like, okay, well, hey, let's do Mike and Sully. It's right there. But we were just like, We had no intention of doing it. We just like, hey, this is right here. Let's jump in this line and do this. Because it was a little early. We're like, we don't have much else planned right now. Our next, I think we were waiting for the Spider-Man show. Sorry, it's late. We were waiting on Spider-Man show and a couple other things. And so we were like, hey, let's go do Mike and Sully because it's right there. And fill some time. But, yeah. This line sucked. And it was the middle of the day. And it was hot as hell that day. Which, I never mentioned. The weather, when we checked the weather before leaving Phoenix, it was supposed to be in the mid-70s all week while we were there. Like, the nights were supposed to be pretty cool. Like, we were expecting, like, nights in the 50s and days in the mid-70s. That's what the forecast was when we left. Or, like, the week before, that's what it said it was going to be. It's like, okay, make sure everybody take a jacket, because it's going to be chilly when we're there later, especially for, like, Oogie Boogie Bash. It's like, oh, it's going to be chilly. We get there, and it's like 80 degrees the first day. We're like, okay. It ended up being like 95 degrees on Wednesday. All the jackets we brought just hung there in the closet in the hotel room, never touched them until we got home to put them away. They were hung up, they were taken down, and they were put away again. That's it. But it was like 95 degrees in the middle of the afternoon, sun just burning down on us as we're standing in line for Mike and Sully. And the only good thing about it, really, like it was a whatever kind of thing ride. But the only good thing really was it's cold inside. Sorry, I'm yawning a lot. Haven't done that in a while. Yawning on Mike, not yawning in general. I yawn all the time. But, yeah. It was just kind of, but it's the only thing. And the line was miserable, and nobody, by the time we got to it, we were like, nobody wanted to even get on anymore. It was just like, we've been here, we're here. But, yeah. It was our only real negative experience. Other than, like, boys getting frustrated that they couldn't go back and redo the same rides over and over again. The older boys wanting to do Tower of Terror over and over again, and wanting to do the Cars Racers multiple times. It's like, one, we had to pay to go on that extra to not stand in line for an hour and a half. And two, everybody has to agree. And this was the same things. And like the boys getting somewhat frustrated with, it's like, hey, we're doing things as a group. Like there can be people who are not going to do a thing because they don't want to do it. Like I'm not going on the Tower of Terror. And the little boys were not tall enough. They couldn't go on it. It's like, okay, we're going to hang out and go get snacks and walk around. And we got to see the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Star-Lord and Gamora dance party thing going on while they're standing in line. We're over there watching dance party. And then we got to go and have some weird snacks and look at some other stuff and do some other stuff while they were doing their ride. Like, hey, we got to do some exploring. They're going to go get, dropped in an elevator. It works. But, yeah, what did we do? We went on a ton of rides. We had probably the most fun. Like, I will say, most fun, best day overall. Oogie Boogie Bash. Hands down. But that's just the experience of Oogie Boogie Bash and nighttime at the park. It was just so much fun to do. But in terms of theme park experience, just doing fun stuff, having a fun time, Wednesday really was the best. Again, because we had it planned out. We knew what we wanted to do, and we did all of it. And I don't think, there was like maybe one thing we just never got around to, but it was one of those, this line is so long, do you really want it? And it was like, nah, it's okay, we'll go without. And I can't even remember what it is off the top of my head. But, and the thing is, the first 2 days, on Monday and Tuesday, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were with us. On Wednesday, my brother and sister-in-law and their kids, and their two girls, were kind of more, we'd kind of catch up with them more on and off. We all had lunch together. We did a couple of different things. We did like turtle talk. That was also one of the fun things, is that one of the, I think it was actually the first or second kid picked, but one of my boys was picked to ask Crush a question during Turtle Talk, which was so fun. But yeah, doing all that, there's like so much stuff, and getting to spend time with my brother and his girls, and just having fun as a family, and having a little more freedom, with us, with really when it was more like just the six of us rather than, having my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and it's just us, and we're a slightly smaller group, and kind of doing things like going up, again, the Cars ride, as a family, all getting in on the Cars ride, and I really wish I could remember the name of the mountain, the water ride. We like started our day with this. It's the big family, big round boat water ride that spins you around and drops you off and all that thing. And I just got drenched because I was sitting right next to the door on the boat. And so we'd hit every kind of big splash, and it would just splash straight over onto me. And then, of course, after we did that one, we went and did the Soarin' over the world, and the hallways in that ride were freezing, and so I'm still soaked and freezing. But again, I'm blanking a lot of rides we went on, but we actually did a lot of rides, and we did a bunch of stuff and saw a bunch of stuff, and we were moving from one part of the park to another, and just happened to come across Vampire Mater. Saw the Falcon America, we kept calling him, the new Captain America, and again I saw Hulk and Black Widow, and we had way more character interaction while we were at California Adventure, aside from our character breakfast. But like our normal roaming around Disneyland, we didn't see anybody really. But the only reason, we had two different times where we almost got pictures with Mickey, and both times Mickey had to leave before we could get up to take our pictures, because they kind of rotate characters, and they're like, whoa, Mickey's got to go be at the Disney Junior Dance Party over here, so he's got to leave. And like, so we did get pictures with a bunch of characters, and on Tuesday night we had pictures with Goofy. Still a fun time. Still had a blast. Got family pictures, tons of pictures. And yeah, it was a fun time. that was really it. It was a great day. I think we stayed there longer on Wednesday. We just stayed there all day and enjoyed it. The sun was going down. We're like, we probably need to get out of here and go find some dinner. I don't even remember what we ate, honestly. I think I think that night my brother went and they ordered, or I think we ordered pizza or somebody ordered pizza. But I know we had pizza that night and they all came, my brother and they brought the girls and we all had pizza and whatnot that night. But, I'm just like last wind down before driving home on Thursday morning. It was just, like I said, it was the smoothest day of the whole thing. We finally figured it out. We figured out the apps. We figured out planning and booking and scheduling meals. Like, hey, we're scheduled, to have lunch over here at this time, and we're going to put in our order so that when we get over to that side of the park, we'll be able to pick up our food. Everybody sit down and have lunch. Also, I don't know where the hell they get their mandarins, but holy shit, because they give, like, we realized even as adults, we were really don't need the whole adult size meals, so we were getting kids meals for ourselves too. They give you a fuck ton of mandarins. At one point, I probably had like a couple dozen mandarin oranges, but they were fucking huge. They were like softball sized mandarins. I'm like, these are not mandarins. These are baby navel oranges. These are not mandarins. They're huge. I've never seen mandarins this big. What the hell? Disney's hoarding the giant mandarin market. I don't know. But yeah, it was the smoothest. We figured out the apps. We figured out the locations. We figured out rides. We just focused on this is what we want to do. This is where it is. This is how we're doing it. We're navigating. We're moving. I'll say, there were points in the day, rowdy boys, it's hot, boys getting irritated, us getting irritated with boys, park full of people with a pair of introvert parents who are having to do way more peopling in 3 days than we do in a year. But we had fun. And that was like the best thing. It was such a fun time. And I think we stayed at the park the latest on that day. Stopped and got ice cream before we left. It was just fun. It was a smooth day. Again, minus the rowdy kids hiccups and things like that. But as terms of we did all the rides, we did all the things, we saw all the shows. We just had a blast. And yeah, it was a good way to end our trip to Disney. It was a good last day for our Disney trip. And yeah, yeah. I'm just going to keep saying it was a good day. Yeah. So that was our Disney trip. Of course, we've still got to get home. And the fact that I committed a day to driving to Disney should already tell you I've got some stories for the drive home as well. But that I'm saving for tomorrow. So, until next time, oddballs, I gotta cue up the music. Until tomorrow, oddballs, I am Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad, out. Thank you, and good night.